Hi, this is your host Gayatri. We are at location AJJ On Location, and today we are having a wonderful program here because we are going to meet our Right Honorable Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and he's coming here to meet a lot of people, a lot of public from Surrey, and all kinds of media, press. Everybody's here to talk to him, to see him, and let's see what he has to say about a lot of things, what we want to know and we want to ask. So let's go and meet the Prime Minister Trudeau. Thank you.
Supported the party for a long period of time. Now the time has come to support him again because he has delivered almost every promise possible. He has created almost 1 million more jobs in Canada. Tell me if any other Prime Minister has ever done that. He has given tax break to the middle class. There is a job available for everyone who wants to do the job. He has worked very hard on NAFTA. He has done everything possible to raise the profile of Canada across the world. And above all, he has done something that no one has ever done that. Let's give respect to each minority group in this country and give us a status in politically which was so essential. So we are very grateful and we want him to win again. He will be our Prime Minister again. I would like you to welcome the next Prime Minister, our present Prime Minister also, the Right Honorable Justin Trudeau. Please get up and just give him a round of applause.
Thank you both for your kind words, your extraordinary leadership, and thank you to you and the entire Chima family. I know you suffered a loss with the loss of our beloved Baljeet, but we know that you will continue to be such extraordinary community leaders as a family. It's wonderful to be here tonight with so many friends as well. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Pleasure to be home in BC, an opportunity to spend an evening with friends, an opportunity to reflect on what we've accomplished together over the past 4 years, and of course, an opportunity to get excited about the work we're going to do together to make sure we continue for another 4 years together. And we recognize while we do this that we're facing a time in which the political context in Canada, but indeed all around the world, is more and more fraught with division, more and more fraught with polarization, with populism, with aggressive nationalism, with the politics of wedges and division that pit communities against communities, geographies against geographies, backgrounds against backgrounds. And that is something that has been very effective elsewhere around the world, and it's something we have to really be concerned of in Canada. Because Canada is one of those rare places in the world that has so far figured out how to be strong, not in spite of our differences, but because of those differences. Recognizing that the very resilience of our communities, of our businesses, of our economy, of our families, of our neighborhoods, that resilience comes from a tremendous diversity, tremendous exchanges of ideas, working alongside each other, learning from each other. And in terms of resilience and in terms of strong community, I'm very proud to be here with my own member of a great, strong Surrey team, members of a great, strong Surrey team, our MPs, a number of them here, Sukh Dhaliwal, Randeep Sarai, Jati Sidhu, who else is here? There we go, Ken Hardy is here. I know John Aldag is on his way. I know Gordy Hogue is sending his best. He's just recovering from a little thing. And Carla Qualtrough is around as well. We have Harjit Sajjan is coming to join us here as well a little later. There is an amazing team of strong voices who continue to stand up for you, and that is what we really need, because politics is about pulling people together, getting people to be involved and stepped up and engaged in their communities and shaping a better world. And it's not always easy to do, because there is a reason to feel anxious when we look at the pace of change going on around us, the transformation of our economies, of our communities, the disruption that's happening in global trade. There's a lot of reasons to be worried as families struggle with the rising costs of living, struggle with things like housing and affordability and gas prices on the Lower Mainland. There's a lot of reasons for Canadians to feel anxious. And one of the challenges we're facing now is that politicians who want to build up those anxieties, exacerbate those fears, amplify the real concerns that people are having, get a positive response to their negativity. One of the dirty little secrets about politics is the politics of negativity, of attack, of division, of fear. They can work. They can work to get yourself elected. But the reason the Liberal Party, over my leadership, over the past 4 years, has consistently rejected those tools, even if they work to get elected, is because once you get elected, by dividing people, by making people fearful and more anxious, it becomes really difficult to govern for the general good, to govern in ways that pull people together, to propose solutions that actually allay those fears. If you spend all your time making people more scared, it becomes even more difficult to reassure them once you get elected. And that's not our way. That's not the way of the Liberal Party. That's not my way. And that's not your way in this community. You know better than just about anyone else that the way to overcome obstacles, the way to succeed when you're facing challenges, is not to hide and run away from them. It's to roll up your sleeves and pull together and solve those problems and build something better and work your way through it. This community knows we have faced, as a community, as a country, far greater challenges than those we're facing right now, and successfully overcome them. As long as we believe in ourselves, we believe in our neighbors, and we put forward solid, concrete solutions to the challenges we're facing. And let us remember back to 2015, where we were struggling. Canadians were struggling under Stephen Harper's government that had the worst growth rate of any prime minister since the depths of the Great Depression in the 1930s. Stephen Harper delivered lower growth to Canada in 10 years than any prime minister in around 70 years. And that's because they didn't get it. They didn't get that the way to grow an economy and the way to help people thrive is not by giving advantages and benefits to the wealthiest and hoping that it trickles down to everybody else. That's not how you build a strong economy. That was their plan through those 10 years. And unfortunately, that's still their plan now. That is Andrew Scheer's plan. He doesn't disagree with Stephen Harper on anything. He is still saying that our investments in Canadians, investments like the Canada Child Benefit, investments like lowering taxes for the middle class and raising them on the wealthiest 1%, investments in community and things like SkyTrain and roads and bridges and housing and other infrastructure that is so necessary, community infrastructure, green infrastructure, those investments, the Conservatives think, is money poorly spent. Well, over the past 4 years, not only have we become even more convinced that investing in Canadians and supporting the middle class and the people who work hard to join it is the right thing to do, we've also demonstrated, as Gulzar just said, that it's the effective thing to do to grow the economy. We have some of the strongest growth of our G7 allies, while continuing to have the lowest debt to GDP ratio, the lowest ratio of national debt as a proportion of our GDP. We continue to create growth and jobs by investing in the opportunities of the future, by investing in skills training, in research that's going to help people succeed. And yes, that's how Canadians have created over 1 million new jobs, most of them full-time, over the past 4 years. And yes, but at the same time as we saw that happen, we also saw 825,000 Canadians lifted out of poverty, including 300,000 kids. Those are the two things, both creating economic growth and making sure that it benefits everyone, that Canadians expect of their government. And that's exactly what we've been able to do together. We have set in motion a path for this country that gives a real and fair chance to everyone to succeed, that stands up for diversity, differences, that defends minorities, that recognizes historical injustices like the Komagata Maru, and makes a solemn oath to never forget and to demonstrate that we will never go around pitting communities against communities. That's what the challenge is right now, because populism and right-wing nationalism is all about making individuals fearful of each other, fearful of the unknown, fearful of differences. And that kind of thing would be terrible for Canada. We need instead to have the confidence to pull together, to learn from each other, to grow together, to build together, to show the world that diversity isn't a challenge, it's an opportunity. It's a tool for greater success. And rarely do we see that success so well demonstrated as we do here in Surrey, as we do with the South Asian community. Your leadership as entrepreneurs, as business people, as community leaders, as politicians, as people serving in all different areas. It has demonstrated that the values of this community are reflected in the greater values of Canada. And Canada has benefited deeply from all the contributions you and countless others of different communities make every day to this country. And the biggest challenge we face as a country, and indeed as a world, is for us to start fighting against each other rather than working alongside each other to build a better future for all. So for all we've done over the past 4 years on growing the economy, on protecting the environment, on moving forward on real and genuine reconciliation with Indigenous peoples, which isn't easy, but needs to be done. Moving forward on taking Canada's place on the international stage as a strong voice for trade, yes, but for progressive trade and for human rights and for opportunities for all. These things we've done together over these past 4 years have made a difference, but they are just a first step. We know, everyone in this room knows, there's an awful lot more to do. But I also know that, like me, you are all excited about the opportunities that the next years are going to bring. The opportunities we have to do even more, to create even greater prosperity that is shared by more and more people, to demonstrate that the approach that Canada has always taken of being open to each other, of working hard for ourselves, for our family, and for each other, and building a better future is the only path forward. And the politics of division, of fear, of insecurity, of anxiety that resonate all around the world will not take root in Canada. The challenge we face, my friends, is about a choice we have to take as Canadians. About whether we choose to continue to move forward as a country, or whether we fall back to the failed model that the Harper years provided us. And I'm looking forward to those conversations with our fellow Canadians, with our neighbors, with our friends, about what kind of Canada we want to choose. Parce que ces élections sont un choix sur le genre de pays que nous voulons avoir. Et ne vous trompez pas, il va y avoir des conversations difficiles à avoir. This election isn't going to be easy. There are very clear choices to be made, but there are going to be some difficult conversations to be had. And we will, as I've said time and time again, refrain from the kinds of personal attacks that our opponents make. But make no mistake, we will be very fierce and unapologetic about criticizing the ideas of our opponents, the policies that would hurt Canadians. We're going to be very strong on the contrasts between what Andrew Scheer is offering Canadians and what we know we can offer and build together with Canadians. Because we care deeply about this country, you and I. And we know that it's worth fighting for. It's worth standing up for. It's worth building together as a future. This is an incredible country, the best country in the world. But it didn't happen by accident, and it won't continue without effort. Effort of each and every one of us pulling together to believe in a better future and to believe that our hard work together is what builds it. So thank you for your support, my friends. Thank you in advance for all the hard work we're going to do together to return a whole slew of great candidates as MPs across the Lower Mainland, across BC, and across the country. I want to thank you all for being here tonight. I look forward to meeting you all in person. Merci beaucoup, mes amis, d'être ici ce soir. Thank you for being part of this tonight, my dear friends.
Welcome to AJJ On Location. We are here at the annual barbecue put on by Harj Sajjan and the team. Great day. It was raining earlier, but now we're seeing more and more people coming out. Stay tuned. We're going to have a word or two with our Defense Minister, Harjit Sajjan. Welcome back to AJJ On Location. As promised, we are here with the Minister of National Defense, Harjit Sajjan, who is the MP for South Vancouver. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, thank you so much. But today is about just me being the candidate for Vancouver South as the Liberal candidate here.
Yeah.
And as you look around to be able to say thank you to the community, because it's where we got our start, and now it's our opportunity to give back to the community.
Yeah, when you talk about building communities, you know firsthand how to build the communities. I mean, you grew up in this community.
That's right, and we saw the challenges, what it means for parents at that time.
Yeah.
And when parents are so busy just trying to make a living, how difficult it is to raise children and making sure that they get on the right path. And so when you give parents an opportunity to look after their kids, you know that their kids are going to have a better future. And we saw some of those struggles way in the past, and the biggest thing I think we as a government have been able to do is the Canada Child Care Benefit,
yeah,
which gives tax-free money to the families that need it the most, not giving checks to millionaires. That was done in the past. And this allows, like single moms even, to be able to put their kids into daycare. And then after that, they're able to go back to school and then, get a better job. Those are the little things. Or buying a bike for their kids, taking a vacation. Those are the things that are important, right?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
You've been, as a federal minister, you get a chance to take a look at some of the issues that affects us nationally. But you always start with the community. You always look at the family and the kids itself. You being a father of two, firsthand how important it is to empower the kids and the families. You continue to do that. Where do you get your passion or your direction for being able to touch upon things that are ground level? As a federal minister, you've got a lot of important things to do, but you don't forget the basics, which is the families.
Well, you know what? Yes, we have responsibilities as a minister level or MPs, but I think the biggest responsibility for us is as parents. Whether you're a parent or somebody that has kids and creating a future for them, I think all Canadians can agree how important that is. It takes obviously effort, but the inspiration to me is when you see the younger generation around you and you see their potential.
Yeah.
But you need to create the environment for them to take that potential and actually turn it into the success. And if you give families an opportunity, especially the middle class families, which it literally is Vancouver South, right? Because there's not people don't make a lot of money here, but they're comfortable. But it's still a struggle towards giving their kids a future. So if we're able to help them out in that time, they're able to give their kids an opportunity, and that's what the success is really about. Just like our parents, who came with very little. I remember including, even your mom, but all of us that worked hard, gave us the opportunity so we can succeed, and now it's our turn to return that favor.
Yeah. The era that we grew up in versus now, what do you think is some of the difference? We talk about kids getting into drugs or staying home watching TV versus back in the day, we're out playing hockey or whatever it may be. What are some of the changes that we're seeing in this day and age that can empower kids to be in the right track?
I think it's about giving parents first the opportunity to spend more time with the kids. It's when parents are always struggling, you don't have that opportunity to spend time with the kids.
Yeah.
You end up making wrong choices. That's why that tax-free money every single month is so important. You're able to put your kids in sports, give them something, and see what the kids are passionate about. Introduce them towards that. They stay busy, and it's when you're not around, what actually potentially can happen. We've seen enough of that, and you realize is when it's too late, when you realize how much potential that kid must have had. So instead of, we want to what we want to do is put the emphasis in the early days, create that opportunity, prevent your kids from making bad choices, because at the end of the day, our success is going to be dependent on them.
Beautiful. So prevention is the key rather than intervening. Intervention is important, but you've always been number one guy when it comes to prevention. Yeah. So keep putting those things in place to keep preventing kids going the wrong direction.
Exactly. No, and it's just that, to me, that's probably our number one responsibility. I said, regardless of all the things that I have to do, we have to do those things, but this is the number one thing, and especially being able to host a barbecue in the park where I grew up, where we saw a lot of struggles. We saw people, we know the people that made their bad choices and went in the wrong direction, but we also know exactly where they were. If they had a little bit of help, maybe they could have gone into a different path. We know kids who ended up choosing the wrong path, but they were straight A students. So imagine if they were able to put that potential. So we got to be able to help the parents. That's the biggest thing, and that's what we're trying to do. And we've demonstrated that as a government. I mean, not only with the economy growing, but even with that success, we know there are still challenges. So we got to keep working hard together and trying to deliver a better future for our kids.
Awesome, Arch. Always such a pleasure talking to you, and thank you for having Arch here. And our friendship goes a long way. So I
Thank you
cherish
again,
that.
my friend. Thank you again.
All right.
Thanks.
All right, bro.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good.
Good.